Hey there, how have you been? I've been meaning to check in with you. Life has this way of sweeping us along at a pace we sometimes can't control, doesn't it? But I hope you found some moments of quiet amidst the chaos, spaces to breathe and to simply be. Speaking of calm amidst turmoil, I've been turning over a story in my mind, one that might resonate with you, about love's haunting dance between what was and what might never be. Would you like to hear it? Under a moonlit drizzle, where silvery drops seemed to whisper secrets against the cobblestone streets of an ancient city, a woman stood enveloped by the tapestry of night. The city, once alive with the vibrancy of its bustling beauty, now lay cloaked in a muted palette of grays and shadows. It was a place where forgotten dreams and lingering echoes quietly nested among the remnants of its former self. There she waited, a silhouette etched against a tapestry of falling rain, clutching an old umbrella that seemed to sway with the rhythm of her heartbeat. They called her Alara, a name once lined with laughter and love, now softened by the melancholy of time gone by. Her eyes, twin pools reflecting the haunted glow of the lamplights, searched the path for a figure who was both a reality and a phantom stitched into the fabric of her soul. The memory of his touch was like the scent of lilacs in spring, ever present, yet lingering just out of reach. He had been a summer's day, wrapped in human form, a vibrant force of nature named Lucian. He carried the sun in his smile and painted Alara's world in hues of the unexpected. Together, they had walked these very streets, bathing in the golden light that poured like liquid joy through gaps in the tree-lined paths. But life, as it often does, was a mercurial weaver, and its loom wove their tapestry with threads of yearning, and twined destinies tugged cruelly apart. Tonight, however, was different. Tonight, the air was pregnant with unspoken promises, the universe seemingly holding its breath, anticipating a reunion scripted by the gods of fortune and fate. As the rain fell, she closed her eyes, breathing in the fragrance of the wet earth, the scent mingling with a distant memory of Lucian's map of freckles, and the way his laughter could ripple across a room. It was then that Lucian emerged from the shadows, his presence a disruption in the orderly fall of rain. His hair, brown now peppered with hints of age's silver, clung to his forehead, and in his gaze was the weight of 1,000 untold stories, each one intricately intertwined with her own. Their eyes met across the shimmering veil of rain, and for a moment, time folded in on itself like the pages of a well-read book. Alara, Lucian spoke her name as a prayer, a truth anchoring him amid the swirling chaos of their lives. Lucian, she replied, her voice a soft echo of the many others that had called out into the night, searching for answers within the silence of starlit solitude. In the hushed intimacy of night, they found themselves stepping closer under the wan embrace of the street lamp. the world fell away, and all that existed was them. Two souls connected across the abyss of years and choices unmade. Each step echoed with the specter of past joys and unexercised regrets, weaving them tighter into the intricate dance of love unending. What brought you back? Alara's question trembled at the edges, the sentiment laced with hope she dared not speak aloud. The echoes, Alara, they called me back to where my heart last remembered feeling whole. Lucian paused, assessing words that could patch wounds he hoped weren't beyond mending. I realized my heart has always whispered your name into the silence of my lonely nights. A tense silence settled between them, the weight of possibilities past and present heavy on their spirits. The rain continued its gentle descent, wrapping them in a tender embrace as they stood suspended in a moment belonging to both the past and the present. You left without a word, Lucian. Back then, it felt like my soul had lost its tether, she confessed, her voice barely audible above the patter of rain. A confession shrouded in the shadows of hurt and love. Lucian sighed, an expression deep as the shifting tides. I was scared, Alara, of what we had, of the depth of it. I thought maybe if I left, I could escape the weight of what it meant. But I was wrong, and the emptiness followed me no matter where I went. The air around them seemed to hold its breath, alive with the mingling of rain and raw emotion. Alara's gaze softened, as though the rain had washed away the bitterness that time and separation had woven into her heart, leaving behind only the yearning that perhaps had never truly faded. We were young, you know, she remarked quietly, her words carrying the grace of acceptance. But no more running, Lucian. No more running, he echoed, extending a hand, a bridge spanning the chasm of their shared history, inviting her to cross back into his world. She hesitated, not out of doubt or mistrust, but to savor the gravity of the moment. Then, with a heart rediscovering forgotten rhythms, she placed her hand in his, feeling the warmth and promise of tomorrows interlacing with yesterday's. Together, they stood beneath their feeble umbrella, the moonlight casting silver halos in the rain, illuminating love's tender resurrection, a love that had been, by turn, ruin and redemption, fear and forgiveness, an eternal dance of shadow and light. If the universe had orchestrated this under the moonlit rain, then perhaps, within its quiet symphony, pieces of their scattered stars might yet realign. They began to walk through the sodden streets, neither speaking more than was needed, wrapped in companionship as natural as breathing. Street lamps stretched their light across wet patches of cobblestones, hinting at the possibility of brighter paths ahead. Each step they took displaced droplets along their path, little choreographed dances of reunion and reclamation of shared histories. As they journeyed on, silent promises knitted themselves into the fabric of midnight. There were no assurances, in love's intricacies. But that failed to matter. Life found its complexity refracted and scattered under moonlit rain, where two had become one within the whisper of the eternal night. Love, enfolded in its paradoxes, would continue to echo through their lives. A tune plucked across heartstrings and threaded back into the loom of the universe. Alara and Lucian understood, however, that it was less about where they had been or where they might end up, but rather the continuation of their story that mattered most. For even in their imperfect offerings, they heard love's whisper rise and fall, cleansing like rain upon the earth. There, beneath that silver-spun downpour, they surrendered to love, once lost, now tentatively reborn under the benevolent gaze of the stars. And so they walked on, wrapped in the effervescent glow of the moon, two souls whispering back to the heavens beneath their newfound sky. And there, my friend, we find ourselves, a little like Alara and Lucian, don't you think? Pieces of stardust on our own paths, walking under the whispers of the moonlit rain. It's comforting to remember that love endures, regardless of space, time, or any barriers the world casts our way.